You know, if I could go back in time and tell my younger self anything about relationships and people, is to choose who you hang out with very carefully, right? Now, normally having friends around you all the time wouldn't be a bad thing until you realize that you start to kind of take on the personalities of the five people you hang out the most, right? If your friends are party animals all the time, right? They'll start to invite you out to more and more parties, right? And eventually it gets to the point where the only reason why they'll still want to be your friend is because you party with them, right? And what just starts to happen is that when you get onto the real world, when you get out there, right? You'll have no one who truly cares about you, but only for the things that you bring to them. The more important thing, and the thing that I don't think a lot of people really realize, is that you need to start to almost vet who you hang out with very, very carefully, right? Now, I know it's going to sound very vain, but I'd rather have a lot of people who hate me and disagree with my opinion than, not tell the truth, right? You need to start vetting people and their values, right? If their values are self improvement, right? If their values are self improvement, trying to get rich, fitness, all that, right? Then that's a good friend, right? And here's the thing that you kind of need to understand about all of this. People will not be friend with you just because they want to be friend with you, right? People are almost all relationships that exist in this world have a give and take, right? You need to give the other person something for them to want to, be friend and give them their time. You know, time we instinctively know that time is a very valuable asset, right? So we're not just willing going to, oh my god, my English. Sorry about that. So we're not just going to freely give it away, right? And a lot of the time, the thing that you give them doesn't even have to be, just monetary values. It could also just be the the metaphysical things, the mental thing, right? Right? If you're like a really funny guy, right? People will keep you around, because you bring the mood of the room up and other things like that. But what starts to happen is that if you try to be the funny guy all the time, right? No one will take you seriously. No one will really try to, you know, be there for you when you're really in trouble. Because you've never shown this like really serious side of you, right? And when you do, no one will take it seriously because that's, to them, that's not who they know you for, that's not the you that they know. So who's this guy that's trying to act all serious? And this is like the problem that I've kind of ran into, with like my past relationship and friendships. And the thing that is very important when it comes to, friendship and relationship is that they have to respect you. They don't really have to like you or anything, but they must respect you, right? Put some respect on your name. Because, you know, people don't have to like you at all, in a lot of cases, but they have to respect you. Because what you'll start to realize once you really start to level up is that no one really cares that much about you other than yourself. Okay? Let's just take rich people, for example, right? Rich people. We, the people, hate the rich, right? Because, they hoard all the money. They made the majority of people's life more miserable and then all of that. is what someone who's struggling financially would say. Don't get me wrong, I'm a part of that lower income class, right? My parent does okay, but they're not uh what I would consider rich at all. But you kind of have to think objectively from their point of view, right? Yes, they probably have to leave a lot of people behind, right? But a lot of those guys, except for, the people who just inherited a lot of the money, I'm talking about like the self-made people, right? What are they called all the time? They're called scammers. They get clowned on social media for selling courses all the time. But what do they have at the end of the day? I'm talking objectively at the end of the day. They have access to money. They have access to clout, sponsorship. They probably have better friends than, you know, you might probably have your entire life. Now, don't get me wrong, they're very, very aware of the fact that, they are a part of the hated minorities. But, you know, if I or, any of you were in their shoe, listen, I would trade places with them right away. And that's what I'm trying to warn you guys about with this video is that sure, you can, be very comfortable at the bottom, you can share misery with other people, right? Just like shit talk all of these rich people up there all the time. But what are you doing at the end of the day? All you're doing is trash talk them, but you don't even get the right to trash talk people because they've made it, like this world is not meant to be fair at all. It is literally the survival of the fittest. It's just and this doesn't just apply for making money at all. I'm not saying that. It also applies for fitness. Listen, I'm on the fitness journey myself, and this thing is very, very hard, dude. Like, I started off 98 pound, severely underweight, right? People used to call me a twig, literal twig all the time. But what did I do? I started hanging out with other skinny people. And, we would just make fun of all these bulky bodybuilder, We would talk about how, oh, they think they're all that. They're so selfish all the time, blah, blah, blah. But when I actually get on, the fitness journey myself, I start to really appreciate the hard goddamn work that these people have done to get there myself. And I've kind of switched side. I'm not even gonna lie with you. you know? Now, the skinny people to me seem like the lame people. Because like they're just sitting there, not putting any effort in and they're expecting all of the result for themselves. But in reality, that's not right at all. And don't get me wrong, you know? People work hard. Yes, a lot of people work very hard, but they're not working hard in the right direction a lot of the time. Why is this the case? Let me tell you, okay? Let's go back to finances again. There's a ongoing narrative on social media about how people are, the rich online people are scammers. They sell course and then all of that, blah, 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 this and that. We've heard it a million times, okay? But what do you think the proposed solution that social media is giving out to you is to get a 9-to-5 job, make an honest living, and just be grateful for what you have? Do you hear yourself? Do you guys hear yourself? I'm not even kidding. Are you serious? There are people online making millions of dollars. I don't know what they do. Like, it could be trading, right? It could be course selling. It could be stock market. It could be fitness, all of that, whatever it is, right? Listen, it is very easy to clown these people for being scummy, being scammy or whatever you might want to say. But at the end of the day, once again, They are very, very well off. And I just can't. Like my friend, all my friend have the same mentality. And it pisses me off. Because like, back then I found a couple ways to, you know, make a little bit of money for myself. Right? I made a couple thousands here and there. And there was a point where I've made like 20,000 off of selling things online. I had a little store on eBay. And once I told my friends about it, brother, clowning this, clowning that, people calling me scummy, the people I thought were my friends started calling me a scammer, even though I was doing legit business. Like, they only had to hear the eBay part, and then people started clowning me. Come on, man. What, like, at the end of the day, you know, these rich people are able to provide for their family. They have enough abundance to, give back to other people, If they sell some kind of course, right? And, I'm talking about, people who actually know what they're doing. Let's say fitness, right? If you're selling coaching fitness online, one-on-one, then you better know what you're doing. But what is the result of that? People are getting healthier, people are getting fitter, and of course there's going to be compensation when you give someone a fit body. That's money. You have to compensate them somehow. And people nowadays just expect that, you know, they can just live like a lazy, dandy life and just have everything given to them. I used to be this way and I pissed myself off, you know? Like I'm man enough to admit all of this, okay? I'm trying to be less naive in, how I live and then all of that. But guys, please. To escape the rat race, you must first escape the voice of the people, right? And you'll never really notice any of this until you start analyzing people and what they're making you do, what they're influencing you to do, right? They could be very sweet with their word. And it's never just hate in general. It could be friendly talk or something, right? You guys could just like, have a talk about how, rich people are ruining society and all of that. And then they could be saying something like, never become these rich people. So what do? You subconsciously try to limit yourself, how much money you make. You go out and get like a basic 9 to 5 job, even though you tell your friends that, oh my God, yeah, one day I'm going to escape the rat race. Pisses me off, man. And bro, I don't care anymore if I get hated for any of this. I'd rather be hated than hide the truth about, success and then all of this, because whenever I try to, you know, deliver this information carefully, nicely to other people, no one will take me seriously. I swear to God, bro. Like, there are people who are obese in the literal hospital, and I've warned them, get in shape. I've tried to be nice to them. It never worked. So, anyways, I'm sorry. That was a whole tangent in itself. But yeah, I think I've yapped long enough. Please, man, just if you do have friends who are, always down and never really is improving themselves, listen, you're just going to have to cut them off. I'm gonna have to be as brutal as possible. I can't, sugarcoat any of this anymore. It is a lot better to be alone than to hang out with people who are just going to chain you down all the time. And the longer the relationship and the deeper the bond that you guys have built, the harder it is to get out of it. And I'm not saying to just, cut off all of your friends, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. Look at your relationship objectively, okay? Look at what they're bringing to you, what you're bringing to them, and see if it is mutually beneficial to the both of you, Okay? And one last, you know, thought that I want to give you guys to think about for a little bit is that when you're when you eventually have to take life seriously, right? When you have a family, a living wife, a couple kids, are you going to be able to look into the eyes of your family members, broke as hell, in a fat body, not able to hang out with them, and be proud that you did literally nothing, right? I would rather be able to, have a family, look into the eyes of my kid, and be proud that I'm able to provide them a sustainable life with a good source of income. I want to be able to have a fit body and be able to hang out with my kids when I get some, you know? And yeah, I'll end it with that. Thank you for watching, everyone.